Welcome back to jail. Let's head on out of here. And that is alright, the university. Sure. Why not? Let's do that first.
Huh. It's as though we've journeyed to the tropics. I don't know how you can stand to keep that coat on in here. Judging from that pipe, that contraption must be used to keep the plants hydrated. But it looks like a giant earwax remover to me. I've never seen a flower grow that big. What do you suppose they're feeding them?
Viagra?
Quite the assortment of plants they keep in here. I wonder if they serve any purpose or are just meant to look pretty. Those flowers are definitely not native to this area. They seem to be thriving in their glass tubes, though.
That's greenhouse, table, one side.
One of those cute little Japanese trees that are all the rage these days. Personally, I don't see how giving a tree a haircut is meant to be relaxing.
Me neither, to be certain, but anything else? No, so hi.
Pardon the disturbance, but are you Juliet Montgomery?
I am. And you are?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into the events surrounding your mother's attempted murder.
Ah, of course.
Have you got time to answer some questions?
Yes, that shouldn't be a problem.
So really an attempted murder, wasn't it? An attempted burying alive.
Do you know anything about the events leading up to your mother's premature interment?
No, it was a complete shock. Mother seemed to be perfectly healthy and full of life. Then, without warning, she was dead. Or so we thought.
I take it you were glad to be wrong?
What a ridiculous question. Of course I was. What sort of heartless beast would celebrate their mother's death?
Oh, I could name a few. Juliet definitely didn't shed any tears over Madame Dupre, though. That much is obvious.
Miss Montgomery, you don't have to lie to me. I'm not going to assume you tried killing your mother just because you weren't upset by her death.
I felt terrible about it. You have to understand, I didn't want her to be dead. I just felt a sense of relief. Please, don't think me a horrible person, Mr. Fordham. It's just that Mother and I aren't currently on the best of terms.
Well, she's quite quiet now, so...
Why don't you and your mother get along?
We've never completely seen eye to eye on anything. She always disapproved of anything I did. When I was younger, she used to forbid me from speaking to the servants. I saw no harm in a kind word or smile, but she warned us that if we were too familiar, they would take liberties.
Exactly.
Then when I declared my intentions to pursue academic studies, she really went livid. In her opinion, a university education was tantamount to a chastity belt. What sort of man would want a wife with a head full of useless facts, she'd say.
Personally, I've always found intelligence to be quite attractive.
I assume me too. Your mother didn't approve of your involvement with Mr. Martin?
A rather forward question, Mr. Fordham.
That's fun.
But you're not mistaken. I'm not sure how she managed to find out about Albert and me, but when she did, she nearly had a conniption. As I'm sure you can understand, the situation at home has been less than perfect in the last few months. I'd really rather not dwell on it.
You mentioned you were friends with the servants.
Yes, that's right. I didn't care that they worked for us. Everyone needs a friend.
Did your mother ever mistreat them?
Mistreat? No, I wouldn't say so. She was always very stern, though, and quite cold. If they ever shirked their duties or misbehaved, they were punished, of course, but nothing out of the ordinary that I ever saw. Most of the servants are my friends, but I'm closest with Amelie, the kitchen maid. Mother wasn't too happy about that. Amelie's been around as long as I can remember. She's like the aunt I never had.
What can you tell me about Albert Martin?
I'm not quite sure where to begin.
Why not start by telling me what your relationship with him was?
We met here at the greenhouse. He was working as an assistant, sweeping and cleaning and fetching things for the students. My focus was on academics, naturally. I wasn't too interested in romance. In fact, I've had to turn away nearly every single one of my classmates. But with Albert, I found myself intrigued. I noticed him stealing glances, lingering just a bit too long after bringing over a book or flask, sweeping the same patch of floor near me over and over again. It wasn't too long before I had him bringing me tools and equipment
intriguing.
Regularly.
I see.
As I mentioned, Mother was an absolute terror when she found out.
It's more
Do you
creepy
believe
than
Mr. Martin
intriguing.
did what he stands accused of?
I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't seem like him, but Albert can be quite passionate. If the police believe he's to blame, then they must have a reason for it. It wasn't any secret that he hated Mother. Perhaps I should have ended things sooner. It was satisfying to know that Mother was displeased, but I never imagined it would lead to something like this.
Well, it's nice to see she's all heart.
Ended things soon, so she was about to end it anyway.
So, you study botany. Fascinating subject.
Or?
Are you an admirer of plants, Mr.
Choice
Fordham?
of words.
My wife has the green thumb in the household, but I do have a certain appreciation for them.
Plants are amazing things, just like people in many ways.
How do you mean?
They need attention and care. Ignore a plant, and it will wither. Give it too much attention, and it will become sick. Plants have many things to teach us, and I greatly enjoy learning from them.
Okay.
These plants are impressive. Are they yours?
Yes, I've developed a method to make them extra healthy and strong.
Viagra.
They're larger than anything I've ever seen. How do you do it?
Ah, but I can't reveal my secrets, Mr. Fordham. The world will hear about my discoveries soon enough.
Incidentally, do you know anything about Easter lilies?
No, I don't keep or grow those here.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Yeah, no worries. We'll lay it out here. Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna try to double click the next time and see if that makes things go a tad faster. I guess we'll go in that way.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
Yes, and I'm aware that I don't care.
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Dupre. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Dupre's private physician. I'm afraid she is in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around.
Her eyes are glazed over, and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person. This fountain probably looked nicer when it was working, but right now it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes.
That's
With her vast
gone.
sums of wealth, Madame Dupre could probably feed a starving family for the next 30 years. Instead, she uses the money to keep her hedges trimmed.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's just a garden as well. Anything else apart from going insides? No.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
She is a great woman and a pillar of the community. I cannot imagine why something like this could happen to her, or how someone could be capable of such a barbaric feat. Though this ordeal has been terrible, I am confident she will overcome. The power of her physical constitution is surpassed only by her strength of character.
You think he'd say the same things if he wasn't on her payroll? I highly doubt it.
Yeah, depends unless he's in love with her, because he seems a bit
What were the
smitten.
circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's supposed death?
Her son, Andrew, sent for me a few days ago after finding her unconscious and unresponsive. As I was unable to detect a pulse or breath, I had no other recourse but to declare her deceased. I judged that Madame Dupre had likely suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. It was most shocking to be proven wrong at a funeral.
I can imagine. Where was the funeral held, by the way?
St. Denis Cemetery. Madame Dupre wished to be interred in the tomb of her father's family, name of Chesterton.
Perhaps I'll go have a look. How long have you been Madame Dupre's private physician?
5 years, and I've been practicing medicine for the past 30. I still spend a couple of days a week treating patients at Riverview Asylum.
Oh, good. Maybe if you're lucky, he could be your doctor someday.
Hey.
30 years is quite a long time. You must have seen some incredible advances in the field of medicine.
I have, yes. I can only wonder how things will change with all this talk of ethericity. There's speculation it can be used to restore necrotic tissue and instantly heal broken bones, among other things. If you ask me, a good bloodletting will never go out of fashion.
Yeah, true. Let's go with that instead.
Did you examine Madame Dupre after she reanimated?
Of course. Physically, she appeared to be in fine health aside from minor dehydration. I found no marks or bruising on her body. Mentally is a different story, however. She's remained in an unresponsive state ever since.
Do you have any opinions on what caused Madame Dupre to appear dead?
The most likely cause I can imagine is some sort of poison or toxin.
Voodoo has one of those. We know that.
What leads you to believe Madame Dupre was poisoned?
The symptoms she experienced were consistent with prior cases of poisoning I've studied. And didn't the young man arrested have ties to some kind of black magic cult? There have been reported cases of these practitioners using poisons to make people appear dead, then commanding them to do their bidding. I recall reading about a man in the West Indies who was given tetrodotoxin, that's the toxic secretion from a pufferfish, declared dead and buried. He appeared alive in his village some 20 years later.
Doesn't that seem a bit far-fetched to you, Doctor?
Facts are facts, Mr. Fordham.
Amazing.
Surely someone in your line of work can appreciate that.
That he knew about that back then.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope
think
I
that
answered
happened
them
about
adequately.
20, 30 years ago. He was ahead of his time, that one. Look into the future, even.
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
Yes, well, I'll have a look around, and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a mild sedative, I'd hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him.
Anything to... well, that
A beautiful
thing.
parrot. Must have cost the Dupre's a cool copper.
I'm guessing you can feed it something and it'll tell you something later on. Maybe?
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
Pieces of 8?
Aye, matey.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
So long, birdie.
Bye-bye.
Alright.
Dupre looks like she's holding on to that poor bastard for dear life. Do you suppose that's for the bird? Or perhaps so the Dupre family members can get a good look at themselves on the way out of the house?
Upstairs. And there's the piano.
This is always my favorite part of detective work.
Nothing inside but a bunch of extra doilies.
How disappointing. Maybe you should steal one, just to spite Madame Dupre for not giving us any good clues.
No, Bill.
You're no fun, Miles.
Steal one, because then maybe I can get to know what the hell a doily is.
A horrible little porcelain figurine. Madame Dupre didn't strike me as the type to play with dolls.
Well, little boys play with dolls. She's not a little boy though, but that would be what's Lords of the New Church?
Nice bouquet of roses.
Yes.
Although it would make things much easier if they were Easter lilies.
If only.
Ah, the Gascon docks. The artist definitely took some liberties. You can't see a single person getting stabbed. Must be nice being able to afford keeping your oil lamps lit during the daytime.
Down in here again.
Goodness, someone went overboard with the flowers. This brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Ones I'd rather forget.
Why would anyone need so many flowers in one room?
Perhaps it's to mask the odors of those chemicals on the workstation.
Could be. I don't know much about art, but I see Madame Dupre and I at least have similar tastes. The science of pharmacology. I'm sure it's riveting stuff.
There's a bookmark in it.
It looks as though this folded piece of paper is being used as a bookmark.
Yeah, so open it up at that place then.
The science of pharmacology.
No.
I hope remembering what page they were on wasn't too important.
Looks like it's a letter for Andrew.
Oh, I thought that was meant to open the thing up at that page, but alright. Yeah, as usual, I'll pause doing this or read it. Interesting, so he makes drugs. Well, that was quite obvious, but that he makes drugs and sell them.
I can only wonder what sort of potions Andrew concocts in this thing.
Clearly some form of uppåt-tjack.
These should be useful.
Which would be what? Amphetamine.
Dr. Tennyson's vigor pills.
And such.
These would make a sloth act like a hummingbird. Decadent. A gentle reminder that everyone's time is slowly running out.
Okay. Or a way to keep track of time.
Is this really the best that medical science has to offer? What in the ether is that thing supposed to be? Actually, I'd rather not know.
Very odd-shaped bong, maybe.
It must be a nice place to sit and listen to music.
We did do those.
Oh, look! It's one of those new audio cylindergraphs. I can't quite wrap my head around how they can manage to get sound out of a wax cylinder.
Yeah, it's silly, isn't it? I'm still sure we need to play a specific tune on this one later on. I do like the idea that you can do this. Oh, nice one. Heidelberg. They are the ones, the system, application systems. Heidelberg is very much involved in the game. I'm guessing the publisher. Nice little touch. That one I missed the last time.
Juliet really likes plants and flowers, doesn't she?
Apparently, yes. Quite obsessed even.
I've never seen so many beauty products together in one place. Doesn't look like they get used much, though.
Oh, yeah, we need a key for that, of course.
Locked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
Well, someone's fancy. I never liked these types of beds much. They feel too claustrophobic.
I always thought they had a certain appeal myself.
Yes, you would think that about a bed that lets you shut out the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Nice little cottage. Looks like it would make a nice cozy spot to retire. If I hadn't already retired from life, that is.
They're all empty. How unusual.
Not to mention disappointing.
Thinking, is that something? Yes, it is something.
Let's have a look through these papers. Aha, what's this?
A key. Yeah, you know the drill. I'm pausing. Okay, so that's where she meets up with whatever
So,
prisoner
Juliet
bloke.
is renting a room in the Chum. That's certainly interesting. I can't wait to see what sort of dirty secrets she's got hidden away in there.
Dudes, but I think I went there. Seems like it was just plant stuff thingies in it. If I remember correctly, it's been a while. Alright, well, looking at that, might as well click on it.
You've got some huge bags under your eyes, Miles. Reminds me of the case we had on that strange train.
Don't remind me.
Strange train? Okay.
That's an old uniform, from the turn of the century by the look of it. This must be Madame Dupre's first husband. Kinda strange that she'd still keep his portrait in the bedroom.
Was it maybe a crazy train?
A much younger Madame Dupre. I suppose that's a nice alternative to a mirror.
Yeah.
Ooh, a fainting couch. You know, I always wanted one of these, but I never fainted enough to justify buying one.
That's a name, alright. Did not know that, yeah.
One of those melodramatic romances. I read it a while back, and I couldn't tell you a thing about it.
Ooh.
Now that one sounds interesting. I was always a fan of Bedletter's short stories.
Common of the Damned and other short stories.
It doesn't appear to be very brief if there's 2 volumes of it. I wonder if anyone outside the family would find this even remotely interesting.
Yeah, brief history of them.
Choice and consequence. Who in their right mind would write a book about that?
Good question.
I don't even want to know what that one's about.
Question mesmerism. Oh,
I read that one last year. If you ever wanted to know the intimate details of a buffalo's anatomy, I highly recommend it.
Get out of there and desk drawers.
Let's see if there's anything in these drawers. Damn, nothing but personal effects and more stationery.
Don't forget the first rule of detective work. If there's nothing useful inside, check underneath and between.
Ah, yes, of course. Thanks for the reminder.
Now this is intriguing.
I'm going to warn you again, you disgusting a thug. Stay away from my daughter and my house or I'll kill a clown. No? Guessing we find the rest somewhere else. That's nothing but the book. Because I can reach that, I know.
Seems Madame Dupre fancies herself a poet.
Yeah, pause.
For once in my life,
Oh.
I'm completely speechless.
Then
Bloody
perhaps
hell.
I should take this with me and read it more often.
Can
Nah.
I do
Oh,
that
dear God, no,
again?
please, let's not expose ourselves to that drivel again.
It's a bit fast on that, so we missed what he said, but yeah,
It
never
would
mind.
appear that
Or-
Madame Dupre was taking music lessons.
Her current predicament has probably put an end to that venture, though.
Rather, my unpausing made the game skip forward. The 2 scale. What, the low F scale? Yeah, sure. I did try that before and did nothing for us. So I am wondering, maybe you find notes later on and then you need this to know which key is which key that way. Because depending on the scale. I mean, but that's still G. Yeah. Never mind. Why is there... Hang on, I'm gonna... There's shiny thingies around the mirror. Why? What is this? Ah, alright, it's dust in sunlight. Okay. Downstairs. And I, of course, forgot to double click because I am a lot of an idiot. Let's do it this time now. Yeah, that works. Good.
Certainly no shortage of bowls or food preparation items around here. Yeah, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight. I wonder how it compares with Upton's special recipe.
Device.
Some kind of water dispensing device, maybe? I was never very good at finding my way around the kitchen.
Is that from making moonshine? If so, I want one. Nothing. Spice.
Looks like the type of spices you'd use in a stew. Most likely paprika or turmeric. Nice variety of reds and oranges. Judging by the amount of food this family probably eats, washing the dishes must take forever.
What does that have to do? Ah, yeah, of course, you need to use more.
It's times like these
Lots
make
of
me wish I
stuff.
could still eat.
Still counter, what? Let's talk to you then.
Pardon me, miss.
What? Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm investigating the attempted murder of Madame Dupre.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm very busy. I can't help you.
Amelie, please. I need to know what you know about Madame Dupre.
What? Well, how did you know my name?
Mm-hmm.
Juliet told me about you.
Miss Juliet.
Yes, I spoke to her at the university. She mentioned you two were friends.
Yes, that's right. She's always been so good to me.
Look, Amelie, I'm just trying to get some information. And I have a feeling you can be very helpful if you'd just let me talk to you.
All right, fine. But do it as fast as you can.
Good thing they hide a black woman, because it could sound a bit odd if it wasn't a proper black woman. I'm certain that is a black woman.
Tell me about
considering
Madame
the
Dupre.
voice.
Oh, I really shouldn't, sir.
It would greatly help my investigation if
Hell
you
of
did.
an actor.
Madame Dupre was kind enough to hire me as her cook. It's hard to get jobs in the city. Lots of people want their servants to use those new machines. My sister's brother-in-law got half his leg blown off by one of those new ovens. He's lucky he wasn't killed. So I'm plenty happy working here doing real people's work. But Madam can be difficult sometimes.
Difficult? What do you mean by that?
No, I said enough.
She can be very quiet after dying.
What do you know about Madame Dupre's supposed death?
All I can tell you is that whoever did it really hated her.
Do you know Albert Martin, the man accused of the crime?
No, I'm sorry.
What? All you blacks know each. I'm sorry. I said it before, didn't I? I can't resist an awful joke. Well, I could resist a couple of them earlier, but not anymore.
What can you tell me about Andrew?
He ain't so bad. Kinda spoiled, but he mostly cleans up after himself. Has a whole private part of the house, but I think he only uses one room. Better for me, way less to clean.
Yeah.
What do you know about Juliet?
She was always so kind to me and the others, but her mother don't like that one bit. Still, she sneaks down into the kitchen to keep me company some nights. Even though she's a good soul, I think part of her does it just to spite her mother.
Probably, yeah.
Are you the only remaining servant here?
No, there's another one, Marcel. He's the new gardener. I haven't seen him in a few days, though. Not since before Madam's incident.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
That's
You're welcome.
exactly
Now,
what I was
please,
wondering about.
let me get back to work.
Who the hell that was then? And you. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Not expecting it to either,
I
so...
have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
Ooh, nice ones. Side bonus.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
Not
She
quite
came
up
back
to
from the
Slade standard,
dead.
but...
I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
Exactly.
Yes. I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
Okay.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
Sure.
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
I'm reminded of a famous quote, Mr. Fordham. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Let us part on good terms and avoid the subject altogether, please.
You okay?
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered what he might taste like. Is that bad, do you think?
I really couldn't say, Mr. Montgomery.
Neither.
Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for yours.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state. If it takes him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe also it's time to call it an episode. So let's do that. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you and have fun.